is that?
That means you start 15 minutes late.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know, but I know.
Yeah.
What does it say? There was something, somebody tried to come to a Jewish meeting on this light but never succeeded. What is it? Someone always tried to come to a Jewish meeting late but never succeeded. That's it.
Oh,
It always started late.
yeah.
But they were from Temple, it's not like that. They're not like
Very timely. Punctual.
punctual. Friend, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Nice seeing everyone here this evening. Couple of things. As we know, there's an extra exit out this door. If anyone needs a hearing assistance device, we have them. I have one here. There's multiple ones if someone needs them. Becky Bliss is not here this evening. Nothing has happened yet. But we are in very good hands with Carmen, Dieker, who is very prepared to be here, and she's a very delightful person. So we are going to continue in our service, or begin our service, as we turn in our Sidurim to page 6 for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharim, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei
Friends, we are going to turn to page 7 for the kindling of the Shabbat lights, and Dee Dee King is having her birthday today, so we're not going to ask you to light the birthday lights, it's Shabbat lights, but it's not your birthday candle, but page 7.
Come, let us welcome Shabbat. May its radiance warm our hearts as we kindle these tapers.
Light is the symbol of God's presence in our lives. The eternal one is our light and our salvation.
Light is the symbol of the holiness within each of us. The human spirit is the light of God.
Light is a symbol of the Torah's teachings.
Light is the symbol of Israel's vision. As it is written, I have made you a covenant people to serve as a light to the nations.
And therefore, in the spirit of our ancient tradition that howls unites Israel, all lands and all ages, we kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlech ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
We praise our eternal God, creator of the universe, who hallows our lives through laws and ethical teachings. We are mindful of these timeless values as we kindle the lights of Shabbat.
May God bless us with Shabbat joy. May God bless us with Shabbat holiness. May God bless us with Shabbat peace. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Friends, let us turn in our Sidurim to page 59, and let us rise for the Baruch Hu. Let us be seated. And we continue on page 60. Let me begin. O God, how can we know you? Where can we find you? You are as close to us as breathing, and yet are farther than the most distant star. You are as mysterious as the vast solitudes of the night, and yet are as familiar to us as the light of the sun. Even to Moses you said, you cannot see my countenance, but I will make all of my goodness pass before you. Thus does your goodness pass before us in the realm of nature, in the varied experiences of our lives. We join together on the top of page 61. When justice burns like a flaming fire within us, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when to the last full measure of selfless devotion, we proclaim our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, we are truly doing your will. You live in our hearts even as you pervade our world. Through righteous action, we offer living testimony to your presence. We continue with Ahavat Olam.
Do אשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם בלילה, נגי יומם בלילה. באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל.
Let us continue on page 62, and then continuing on to page 64 with the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam, Leolam Vaed. And you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Friends, on page 65, let us read these verses responsively. All this we hold to be true and sure. We have only one God, and there is none else.
May the righteous always
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor, asked God. On the bottom of page 65, we continue with Mi Chamocha. Middle of page 66, let us continue with Vishamru. Let us turn to page 69 and let us rise for our standing prayer, the Amidah. seated. We join together on the top of page 70. Infinite is your power, O God. Great is your gift of life. In loving kindness you sustain the world. Through the endless flow of your blessing you preserve all of creation. You uphold the falling and heal the sick. Free the captive and keep faith with your people in death as in life. Who is like you, author of life and death? We continue on page 71. Source of all knowledge and wisdom, you endowed us with reason and understanding. We pray for the light of your truth, for insight into your ways, and for the strength to banish from our hearts every unworthy desire. Forgive us for our transgressions and pardon our failings. May those who have lost their way come to know your love again, that they may turn to you with newness of heart. Together, our God and God of our mothers and fathers, grant that our worship on this Shabbat may be acceptable to you. Sanctify us through your precepts that we may share in the blessings of the Torah. Help us to be satisfied with the gifts of your goodness and grateful for all that you bestow. Purify our hearts that we may serve you in truth. May we preserve Shabbat as our people's heritage from generation to generation, that it will ever bring rest and joy, peace and comfort to our lives. We praise the eternal God who sanctifies Shabbat. Page 72, Creator of all the world, you have blessed us with noble powers. Teach us to make wise use of them. You have called us to be your partners in the never-ending work of creation. We thank you for the capacity to choose the path devoted to your service and dedicated to the well-being of those around us. Together on the top of page 73, may all people find their way and help establish peace in our world. Let them cultivate that goodwill which may bring enduring peace. Let all nations realize that the triumph of war turn to ashes, that justice and right are better than conquest and aggression. May they come to see that it is not by might and not by power, but by your Spirit that life prevails. Bless our land with plenty and our nation with peace. May righteousness abide with us and virtue bring us happiness. Blessed is our eternal God who hearkens to prayer. We continue with Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. B'tov b'necha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
We continue with some moments of private reflection and devotion. Friends, we turn back to page 10. Let me begin at the top of the page. Prayer invites God's presence to lift our spirits. It allows the blessing and gift of hope to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Together, we pray for all people who are at this hour or are in sickness and want or in distress of body or spirit. We name in our hearts those who are near to us and whose pain we feel pain. Let them know your help and feel your presence, realizing that they are. Friends, we know we live in a world where many people carry many burdens. They carry the burden of illness, of disappointment, of depression. All those ailments press upon people, and we also are aware that there are so many people who are here to support people who are feeling low. So we are mindful of all those people, and at this moment, if we would anyone like to share a name of someone that they're praying for or thinking of this evening, I would encourage you to do so. Let's start over here and work our way over. Okay. 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 Else? We continue with Mishaberach.
Say
Shabbat shalom to everyone. Carmen, you're doing okay, my friend.
I'm trying.
You're doing better than trying. Not far from Cincinnati, in Petersburg, Kentucky. Has anyone ever been there? I doubt it. Is the Creation Museum. Now, according to its website, and I quote, "The state-of-art 70,000 square foot museum brings the pages of the Bible to life, casting its characters and animals in dynamic form and placing them in familiar settings. Adam and Eve live in the Garden of Eden. Children play and dinosaurs roam near Eden's rivers. The serpent coils cunningly in the tree of knowledge of good and evil." I'm still reading. "Majestic murals, great masterpieces brimming with pulsating colors and details provide a backdrop for many of the settings." And on their blog, they have such entries as Big Bang, exploding the myth, and is evolution possible? The goal of the museum is to show that the story of creation through Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, Noah's Ark, all these things should be taken literally. Dinosaurs lived during the time of Noah's Ark. That's their theory. The world is only 6,000 years old, according to them. Now, okay, so you go to this, that's fine, it's okay, but this is where it got a little bit scary for me as I researched a little bit. I haven't been there, but 45 miles away there is the replica of the life-size replica of Noah's Ark. So Kentucky is Cincinnati area, Kentucky, things are happening there. But there is part of this Creation Museum, they have a full year high school lab for the biblical worldview. So it's a science curriculum that reinforces biblical fundamentalism. Okay? The goal of the museum is to reinforce the biblical literalism of evangelical Christianity. Now, some theologies teach that the scriptures must be read literally. We even have such believers in the Jewish community. They claim that if the Torah says it, it has to be understood at its most simple, literal level. The world was created in 6 days. Adam and Eve lived in the garden. End of discussion. Now, it's interesting, 24%, just think about it, 24% of Americans say that the Bible should be read literally. That's a quarter of Americans. And I would venture to say that many people who are not per se literalist are confused about how you read the Bible. They can't fully conceptualize how the book of Genesis and science relate to each other. That's why I'm here. That's my job. I confront Jews like this all the time. And not infrequently, I will be speaking to a private school. They always call the rabbi in for something at a private school. And I'm there to represent my view of Judaism. And I tell them the following. I tell them I believe in the story of creation as stated in chapter 1 and 2 of the book of Genesis, that it is true. And I also believe that scientific theory of evolution and the Big Bang are true. Initially, they think I'm double talking, but I explain to them there are different truths in this world. There are scientific truths and there are religious truths. And they live in harmony with each other. They complement each other. This idea that they're in conflict is completely ridiculous. Science helps us to understand how the world came into being. That's what astronomy and theoretical physics and evolutionary biology and geology, that's what they are for. They are tools to understand this complex world that we live in. The Big Bang and DNA are scientific myths. I mean, myths being ways of understanding things that are conceived to explain how the world is and how life exists. Their goal is to articulate the how. What are the rules that govern the universe? That's why the James Webb telescope helps us understand this incredible world. Have you seen any of the pictures from they're extraordinary. They're extraordinary. They're stunning. They're humbling. And really intelligent people, far more intelligent than I am, are able to look at those pictures and to truly come to a greater understanding of how the universe works. And as time goes on, people are going to come out with greater understanding of creation and of the universe. That's science, and that's beautiful, and that's what we should do with our brains. But all the pictures in the world cannot explain the why. Astronomers can't tell us why our world was created, or the meaning of creation, or the role of human beings have in creation. That's the role of religion. Biblical texts and science complement each other. They answer different questions. They use different methods and language. A thoughtful person doesn't need to choose. It's not either or, it's rather both and. They're complementary, they work together. I mean, you know how many times I've said this? You know, when I started saying this when my hair, I always talk about my hair. When I started my rabbinical career teaching, and I don't know, I'm talking to you. Okay, Nathan isn't here, so and I don't want to scare Carmen, so I'm going to talk to you. Okay, you're the designated something tonight. Okay, so you're here. No, but when I started teaching, I remember I was in rabbinical school. I had dark yellow, brownish, reddish hair. And I'd have the same discussion. They'd come in and say, oh, Rabbi, I don't believe in the Bible. Don't you believe in the Big Bang? And I say, I never heard of the Big Bang. What's that? I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, all of that being said, so what does the Bible tell us about how our world is? What does this story, which unfolds beginning in 6 days, from the creation of light itself into counterbalance with a primordial darkness, to a differentiated world of land and water, to the creation of celestial objects, ultimately to the development of plants and animal life, reaching its pinnacle in the creation of human beings, and then the story of Adam and Eve and all these things. What are these texts here to teach us that you won't get in a science book? I mean, I think that's a legitimate question. A teacher of mine, he really scared me, who was a great congregational rabbi and a serious biblical scholar in the 20th century, named Rabbi Robert Gordis. He suggested in one of his essays 6 things that we learn from creation, from the creation story. Okay? I want to share them with you because they're brilliant, but as I say them, I still remember him standing in front of the class and me being incredibly scared. So affirmation number 1, the world has a plan and a purpose. The world isn't an accident. There is a divine intelligence which undergirds creation that we all call God. Supreme Court Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes used a military metaphor. We are soldiers in a great campaign, even if we are not privy to the battle plan. Is that a good quote? I got to read that again. It's so good. When it's good, you have to repeat it. We are soldiers in a great campaign, even if we are not privy to the battle plan. We are here for a reason if we're not told what it is. Life is a journey of discovery. Affirmation number 2, all life is wholly and integral to the divine order of creation. The whole process of creation produces life. That life has a unity to it, from its simplest form to the creation of human beings. And what it says is that unity is something extremely important, and the Torah is very clear about this. One of the things that is derived from that is that we are forbidden to inflict unnecessary pain upon any creature. And that is the argument that's found in the beginning of the Torah about avoiding eating animals at all. Eventually, in a story of Noah, people are allowed to eat animals, but ideally, life was so sacred that the tradition says no pain should be given to any animal. Number 3, men and women are equal in God's plan. The Torah says, and God created man in his image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Men and women have complementary roles in this world. Clearly, that's the story of Adam and Eve. Affirms that both of them have agency and power, and the actions of each of them have equal consequence. Gender equality is contrary to the founding affirmations of the Torah. This idea that the Torah is against women is a total misreading. I'm here to fight that battle too. Affirmation number 4, every human being is fashioned in the image of God. Human beings are endowed with a spark of divinity, and therefore every human being is of infinite value and infinite worth. Each of us has this sacred spark in us. That's why all human beings have an equality, and that cannot be taken away from them. Every human being has an infinite right. No one has more rights than anyone else. We all have equal rights, and all of our lives are of equal value. That's a biblical statement of creation. Number 5, human beings have a special responsibility in this world. Human beings were put into this world, but we're called upon to be divine caretakers. Human beings have an obligation to preserve life. Chopping down the Amazon is sinful. Affirmation number 6, the world is good. God saw everything that God made, and behold, it was very good. Of course, there are imperfections in the world. Creation is not perfect, and human beings are called upon to fix this world. And even though our power is limited, we're not allowed to give up. Life is sacred and worth living. Our responsibility is to guard against the evils of cruelty, greed, ignorance, and waste. Those are the 6 affirmations that come out of Genesis, and you're not going to find them through a telescope. You find them through how we understand the story of creation. And the reality is, those affirmations that I just made are the way that we read the entire Jewish tradition. You cannot understand, for example, what Judaism is about if you don't recognize that all human beings are created in the image of God. You can't understand about our human gender unless you understand that gender equality is throughout the Torah. We can't understand how we should approach life unless we're told, something, life does have a lot of darkness in it, but ultimately the world is good. These are the affirmations that make us human and that are to guide us as we go through life. Science is great, but we need more. No laboratory can generate these ideas. No telescope can discern them. A truly religious person does not read the Torah literally, but he or she appreciates its poetry, its artistry, its mystery, its message. Now, people falsely claim that Albert Einstein was an atheist. Yet here is what he wrote to a friend. He wrote, and I quote, "In view of such harmony in the cosmos, which I, with my limited human mind, am able to recognize, there are yet people who say there is no God. But what really makes me angry is they quote me for the support of such views." Now, it's interesting, Einstein regretted not having spent enough time studying sacred texts of Judaism and mastering Hebrew. And they wanted him to be the first they wanted him to be the first president of the state of Israel, and then they wanted him to be head of the Hebrew University, and he decided to do neither. And I remember reading about that where he was embarrassed because he wasn't able to go up and address the community in Hebrew. It's very interesting. So this is my final thought. I pray that every Jewish child grows up to be an astrophysicist. Now, enough dentists, doctors, and lawyers. That would be fantastic. It would be the Jewish mother's dream of the 21st century. Astrophysicists everywhere. But, there's a but here. But let us make sure that every year that same child goes to synagogue and hears the words, Breshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz, when God began to create the heaven and the earth. Einstein in the book of Genesis make very good bedfellows. Shabbat shalom. Okay, let's go. Let's continue. Page 368. Let's rise for the adoration.
Let us adore the ever-living God. We offer praise unto you, who spread out the heavens and established the earth. Your glory is revealed in the heavens above. Is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else. Va'anachnu kore'im umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
Let us join together on page 369. May the time not be distant, O God, when you shall be worshipped throughout the earth, when unbelief shall disappear and error be no more. Fervently we pray that the day may come when all people shall be guided by your teachings. Corruption and evil shall give way to purity and goodness. Superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. Then all who dwell on earth shall know that to you alone every knee shall bend and every voice give praise. May all created in your image recognize that we are brothers and sisters, so that one in spirit and one in harmony be forever united before you. Then shall your reign be established on earth, and a word of your ancient prophet be fulfilled. The eternal God will reign forever and ever. On that day the eternal shall be one, and God's name shall be one. Bayom
Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
You may be seated. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision and grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's plan, yet we know that both growth and decay, life and death, all reveal God's purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death, and we have set the Eternal One before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love we are comforted. Our life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. The yahrzeits that are part of the permanent memory of our community that are remembered this evening are Alvin Baer, Juliet Block, Ann Colley, Joy Davidson, Fred Eaglestein, Freda Fink, Joseph Freed, Sylvia Gershenson, Joanne Hicks, Harold Kahn, Morris Kamen, Julian Levy, Mira Baronia Marmer, Albert Mentoff, Samuel Minukin, Richard Montague, Stephen Pochaluco Sr., Patricia Ullman Rich, Louise Mayer Rosenberg, Michael Rudd, Bernice Sloman, Eugene Spurtis, Helen Jane Ullman, and Marcel Weil. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith that links the generations of the house of Israel one to another, we ask everyone to please rise, as is our custom, to join together in reciting the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayedechol Beit Yisrael, v'galav izman kariv yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach li'olam omei omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barechu le'elam en kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran v'yoma v'yamru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. May the one who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, let peace descend on us and all Israel and on all the world, and let us all say amen. Please be seated. The Shabbat flowers are dedicated in memory of Alvin Baer and Julian Levy by Adele Levy, in memory of Juliet Block by Betty Jo Martyr, in memory of Ann Colley by Nancy and Steve Colley, in memory of Joy Davidson by Lois Davidson, in memory of Sylvia Gersonson by Dee Dee King and family, in memory of Morris Kamen by Heather and John Bortnick, in memory of Mira Baronia Marmer by Barbara Marmer and Joe Haydu, in memory of Albert Menitov by Simi and Jay Menitov, and in memory of Stephen Pachaluco Sr. by Safira Pachaluco. Okay, some announcements. Two that I'm going to list very clearly, and then I'm going to do something else. I don't know how this came into being. There is a sweet potato marshmallow drive. Yes, I'm going to get to that. Yes, Dee Dee. I didn't know where this came from, but you gotta let me do my thing up here, Dee Dee. Come on. Do you see what I have to deal with here?
Yeah.
It's not easy. Okay, so donations of sweet potatoes and marshmallows may be dropped off at New Reformed Temple during the week, no later than November 3rd, or at Religious School no later than October 30th. It's being sponsored by Operation Breakthrough, and then there's going to be volunteering taking place at Operation Breakthrough on November 12th from 9 to 1 p.m. Volunteers may assist in packing Thanksgiving dinner bags. We are continuing our clothing drive. Coats and clothing can be dropped off here. And then there is the JFS Hanukkah gift card drive. That is, we're asking people to make gift donations to either Target or Walmart in increments of 25. You bring them here, and we will make sure they get to Jewish Family Services. Okay, now I'm going to be a nudge. I thought my mother was the only nudge, but I'm the nudge tonight. Okay. Does everyone know what a nudge is? No. See, I knew you didn't know what a nudge is. How would you describe a nudge? I was going to use something that's... I was going to say something a little coarser than that, Dee Dee. A pain in the neck. You nudge... Alan, do your homework, or, nudge. Okay. I'm a nudge. Okay, so on Kol Nidre night, I called upon the congregation to be involved in a Kol Nidre Mitzvah pledge with these beautiful cards. And the goal of it is to make sure that everyone in the congregation is able to do one thing to bring something good in the world this coming year through the New Reformed Temple. And so there are 12 opportunities to do good things, starting with Mitzvah Day, and giving a pint of blood or whatever, bringing in a used coat, giving a gift card, everything, 12 wonderful things. We're asked to do one thing. And everyone can do one of these things. Now, here's the deal. I figured we have like 400 adult members of our community, basically. If we count in some of the teenagers, well, whatever, about 400. I've only received 5 cards back. Don't laugh! 5 cards! 5 cards! They were distributed on Kol Nidre night. But I have some if you need them. If someone needs them, I'll give them out. After services, I'll give them out. But we want you to fill it out, to send it in, or if you need another card. This is important for the temple, okay? By next week, we need to have at least 6 people having signed up. And I'm going to nudge every week. Nudge, 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 nudge. And you can, I don't care what you say, I'm going to keep doing it. No, of course not. We're not that sophisticated. Yes, you can. Of course, my friend. She wanted a card. She's a smart lady. You're welcome. Oh man, I think we're going up in the world. Okay, so immediately following services, we're going to join together outside for Onig Shabbat. And that's it. So we're going to conclude our service on page 429 with Oseh Shalom Bimramav. And again, I thank Carmen for being here. We're really happy that she's helping us and, keeping the high level of worship that we want at the New Reform Temple. Page 429.
Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom
Oh, that's okay. I just followed your lead. Sometimes you're like, no, not today.
Sometimes I just have to. We don't get anywhere without having a course. That's our tradition. Which is great. So I like that tradition. Oh, you want a card? I thought you were just shaking my hand. You want another card?
She has a question.
Yes,
She wants
ma'am.
some clarification here.
I don't know, because these things are kind of too old for some of your kids, I think.
Can she bring a toy as part of the, instead of a gift card, a toy?
You could definitely bring a card, yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Let's go out and do the thing.
Should I turn up the sound?
You can't overwork you, come on.